Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Tabletop Truths. My name's Jordan. Thank you for joining me. And today we are going to be talking about Viticulture, one of my favorite worker placement, full-on Euro games. Yes, one of my favorite worker placement Euro games. As you can see, I have the full second edition plus the Tuscany expansion. If you are looking to purchase it now, you can probably pick up the Essential edition, which is kind of a combination of the two. The Tuscany expansion is several smaller expansion packs that kind of you can incorporate as you like into Viticulture, whereas the Essential edition takes some of the more popular ones and already incorporates them into the rule set of the game. So let's dive into the box and see what makes Viticulture such an interesting experience. Okay, so when you open up the game of Viticulture, the strategic game of winemaking, one of the things that immediately strikes you is the cool theme and style of the game. The idea of running your own vineyard, making wine, giving tours of your vineyard, crushing grapes. It's a cool idea, and it's very hands-on, whereas a lot of Euro games can kind of feel impersonal, whereas this one, it feels like you're making something. So when you open it up, manuals and boards, everyone gets a player board, of course, because it's a Euro game, and you also have a full-on board in which to place your workers. But there's this lovely little inset here and different colors, and the pieces themselves are just very, very interesting. I'm cheap, so I didn't spring for the metal money. I should have, but you can see there's all these different pieces, and there's so many different things. There's your little workers who wear little hats. There's your little wine bottle that helps you keep track of things. There's your windmill. There's your garage. There's your other workers. There's a lot of care put into these different pieces. You've got a little cock-a-doodle-doo, little rooster guy. Your wine trellis has got little grapes hanging from it. There's just all sorts of cool pieces in Viticulture. There's these fun little, this is how you keep track of your wine, and these little translucent dots. And then there's all these cards as well. And the cards are where you get into some of the fun parts. And you get to fill your wine orders with the purple cards. You get to plant grapes with your green cards. And you get these really, really unsettling people on your visitor cards. All these people are modeled after Kickstarter backers. And they're just... not one of them is normal looking in the art. I'm sure the people themselves are lovely, fine-looking people, but the art is just strange. And it's one of the kind of endearing aspects of Viticulture and how weird these things are. But really well put together. The pieces are all, it's very obvious what's what and how everything works. So let's set up the board and kind of walk through how the game itself works. It's a pretty straightforward Euro game, but let's do it anyway. So you set up a game of Viticulture. Everyone will receive their nice little player board, which shows their own personal, grapes and structures and wine cellar. You also have this central board, which will be where everyone places their workers to take certain actions. You can see there aren't that many places on the board in which to place your workers, which doesn't simplify the game that much. It's not that hard of a game to grasp, but there's a lot of moving pieces and things that all work towards the central goal. But the fact that there aren't that many actions to take makes the game much more interesting. Lots of Euro games, I think, suffer from kind of the long con, where you come up with a plan and you say, in 4 turns, I'm going to start executing this strategy. Whereas in Viticulture, the actions you take have an impact almost right away. If you build a tasting room early, which gives you a victory point every time you give a tour, in addition to the money that a tour normally gives, if you build that on the first turn, other people are kind of put on a clock. Oh, he's going to be gaining points every single turn he gives a tour. Now maybe I want to block tours so that he can't do that as often and get those incidental points. Maybe you're going to go hard on planting grapes, and so you have to draw and plant, and you're filling up these little pieces. And like most Euro games and most worker placement games, you're not directly interacting with your opponents. It's kind of a passive aggressive action against them. You're screwing them over by filling up these spots that they want to go in. So there is also that strategic aspect of, can I block them from doing what they want to do? And in turn make it so I can do what I want to do. With this game too, you can kind of see right off the bat just how pretty it really is. Obviously, the pieces are part of that, but the board itself, it really feels like this nice kind of quaint vineyard. That again, it's that idea of, it feels personal, where some worker placement games kind of feel impersonal. I'm going to send my workers. In viticulture, you really invest yourself in this winemaking business that you are trying to get going. And another really cool thing, this is just kind of a nerdy detail that I really like about viticulture. Once you know the game well enough and you know what all this text that kind of clutters the board and the turn order over here and all that stuff, you can flip the board over and all that text is gone. It's just this nice, clean board. So once everyone knows how to play viticulture, you get this nice, clean experience. You don't have all this stuff kind of cluttering everything. It's just you, your vineyard, your workers. It's really fascinating aspect of the game. So we haven't talked a ton about the mechanics of viticulture. If you've played worker placement games before, you can probably find your way around viticulture pretty easily. It's not that complex of a game. It's got a lot of stuff going on, so it's complicated in that all the, making it work for you is the difficult part. But I will run you through how a general turn of viticulture works, so you get a sense of what the game's all about. So, each turn you run through an entire year. You go through 4 seasons, which are kind of different phases of the turn. In the spring, you determine your worker wake-up time. The later they wake up, that is turn order essentially. The later they wake up, the better the bonus. So if you want that extra worker for a turn or a victory point, your guys are going to be going pretty much after everyone else. On second thought, if you really want to get planting your vines before anyone else, you can go first, but that means you get no bonus. So the bonuses get better and better in general as the wake-up time goes on. Then you move to summer. Summer is where you play on this half of the board, the yellow circles. This is where you're planting vines, building structures, giving tours. Kind of the setup phase is the summer. You move to fall, where you draw a card, and then winter is where you really start to get things done. This is where you train workers, fill wine orders, harvest your fields, make your wine. So summer is more the setup. Winter is more the finishing touches on your turn. As you move up the board, you get to 20 points. 20 victory points is the final, and the most you can get is 25. If someone reaches 20 points on a turn, the game is not over. Everyone else can try to beat them that turn, reach 22, 24, whatever, and try to win the game. And this is another fascinating aspect of viticulture. Once everyone knows how to play, which doesn't take long, maybe one game to really figure out how all the systems work together. Once everyone knows how to play, there are not runaway games of viticulture. Multiple times we've gone through games of viticulture and I thought I've won. I'm going to get 22 points this turn. I'll get 22 points and then someone else will score 23, 25, whatever. There are multiple times where I thought, God, I'm going to lose this turn. And then somehow that the other person who's playing against me only gets to 19 or 18. And I've got one more turn to try to pull this combination of things off. So it's really fun in that it's always competitive once you know how to play. Obviously, introducing new people to it, they might take a couple turns to figure it out, and by then everyone's left them behind. But ultimately, once people know how to play, this game is always close, which I really appreciate. There's no comeback mechanic. So if you fall behind, you're probably in trouble unless you're planning some sort of, big turn strategy. But there's a lot of different viable strategies that work in viticulture, and it's just fun. That's really all I can say about it. It's a fun game. Well, there you have it, folks. That's Viticulture. It's like I said, it's a kind of a medium level, not super heavy, but not terribly light worker placement, pure thinking game. It's got a great theme, some really cool art. It's one of my favorites in my collection. So I would highly recommend picking up Viticulture. If you want, the Tuscany expansion does add a lot to the game. There's some pretty complex things that get added. But if you want the more streamlined experience, you can just go with the Essential Edition. It adds some of the better aspects of the Tuscany expansion without convoluting the rules too much. Some of the Tuscany expansions are really out there and don't work that well. But I'd highly recommend it. One of my favorite games, one of my most played games as well. So, thanks for watching Tabletop Truths. My name's Jordan. Check out Viticulture. It's a lot of fun. And until next time, salut.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff that you would normally do. You can find me on Twitter at Jordality. It's like fatality, but my name's Jordan, so, makes sense. And check out my YouTube channel. I've got other good videos up. I don't just do board games, I do video games as well, so you can find all sorts of good gaming content there. If all you're interested in is the board game side of things, then head on over to TabletopGameandHobby.com, which is the site I write for, and it's a shop right here in Kansas City where I live. It serves all your tabletop gaming needs. There's got tons of blog stuff over there, tons of hobby stuff for you to peruse at your discretion. So thanks again for watching. My name's Jordan. We'll see you soon.